Hey, good morning, and welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I'm your host, Vince. Hopefully, you're having a great Friday. Yep, the weekend is upon us, and hopefully, you have some games going on. I do not have a game going on this weekend, though I probably will be getting together with some people from my group to make up characters for our mini 6 supernatural hunter type game we're going to be playing. That'll be replacing our Shadowrun game because that has ended. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do the characters this weekend if I have some time, and they have some time as well. Today, I'll be releasing a video on my channel, my top 5 celebrity guest DMs I'd like to see in sitting at the table, past and present. So it could be somebody that's passed away or someone that's currently alive. I picked my 5. They're want to see what your 5 is, so if you could watch that video and make sure to comment and like that on that one so I can see what your 5 are, I appreciate that. Next week, got a whole bunch of videos coming out, a couple requests about Master Book and the World of Indiana Jones RPG. That'll be next week, as well as a video on tips for running a horror game because Halloween's coming up next week. All those things and more. You can watch them all now if you go to my channel on youtube.com/EvilDM. And join the channel for 99 cents a month to support me. You get a members-only stream Friday night as well. Anyway, on to the podcast. Oh, yeah, theevildm.com is my website. There. That all out of the way. Let's flip to the Unearthed Arcana book, and we're going to talk a little bit about today, page 45, Cantrips. I know you're like, oh, Cantrips, big deal. It's a spell you can cast that kind of sucks. It has no point. Well, Cantrips do kind of have no point, yeah. A lot of them suck. But creative players can make a lot of good use out of these cantrip spells. And the reason why I'm highlighting it today, because there's something I noticed in the cantrip description paragraph that I've probably read 1,000 times and didn't even realize yet again, that magic users and illusionists can be start like a cavalier does at negative experience levels. You could start at negative 2,000 and go work yourself up 3 levels to -1 or 0 hit points to be a magic user or illusionist, getting, I would assume, 1d4 hit points for it. There are no real rules here for what a 0 level or a -3 level magic user or illusionist would be. It's just a small takeaway paragraph saying, cantrips are magical spells learned by the apprentice magic user and illusionist during their long, rigorous, and tedious training for the craft of magic use. Aspiring magic users or illusionists may use 1 cantrip per day as a 0 level neophyte, a -2,000 experience points to -1,001 experience, 2 cantrips per day at level 0 initiate, that's -1,000 to -501. 3 cantrips per day as a 0 level apprentice, -5,000 to -1. Cantrips must be memorized just as higher level spells are. So we have some rules here that are not mentioned anywhere else in this book. They go over almost all the classes in the book other than the magical classes themselves. And there's no real chart to adjust this, or it's just right here. This is what you can do. So I'm assuming it's a D4 hit point because that's what magic uses are. And you can work yourself up and actually tell a pretty cool story as a magic user and have minor spells, as some people would say, making yourself more useless in battle. A lot of people feel magic users in first edition are completely useless at the lower levels. I don't necessarily think that. If you're creative enough, you can make use of it, because once you start getting up in levels, magic users become more and more powerful. So it's not like they're little wimps all the time. I played in a campaign, I don't know, about 10 years ago. I was a magic user. I had 1 hit point. The DM actually made me roll it all out. I had 1 hit point, and I said to him, I'm going to die really fast. And he's like, yeah, you probably will. So I said, well, can I have a guard dog at least? And he's like, absolutely. So I had to go through and look through the book and find the guard dog in there and purchase a guard dog and actually talk to the DM about it and say how the dog was going to guard me and what special commands I would have, because you can basically have little minor commands for that. But it's a different story for a different time, but that's how I did it to get around a 1 hit point thing, because God, that was ridiculous. But hey, that's the breaks of rolling the dice, right? So there's some more about cantrips here. Most cantrips are simple little spells, no great effect. So when the individual becomes a first level magic user, the knowledge and information pertaining to these small magics are discarded in favor of the more powerful spells that are available. However, a magic user may opt to retain up to 4 cantrips in place of one first level spell. This assumes that the magic user has in fact retained his or her book of cantrips, a tome as large as a good sized book of higher level spells. It continues. All cantrips are 0 level, have a 1-inch range, and generally have small areas of effect requiring only soft, simple, verbal, semantic components, and are cast in a very short time, 1/10 to 1/2 a segment. Now, that's important because that comes back up in a few minutes how these are cast. Only those which involve living creatures afford any saving throw. Individuals in the state of extreme concentration, such as when casting a spell, do not have that concentration broken by personal affecting cantrips. The effects of cantrips and people and items affected by them radiate a very faint magical aura. Now, it goes on to say casting of cantrips, and remember I said the 1/10 to a half a segment, so you're thinking, wow, I can cast a ton of these. No, you can't. He put rules in effect so it makes sure you can't cast more than one. Cantrips are basically cast the same way the spells are cast. Note that despite their simple components and short casting time, only 2 cantrips can be cast during any round by a single magic user or apprentice. Furthermore, the segment of the round in which the cantrip is cast is dependent on the usual factors of surprise, initiative, and so on. After the first of the 2 cantrips is cast, the magic user, remember that's the first of the 2 cast, the magic user must roll a 4-sided die to determine how many segments later he or she will be able to cast a second cantrip if they desire to do so. It is not possible for a magic user to cast both a spell and a cantrip during the same round, no matter how short the casting times are. Cantrips are grouped according to general effect or purpose into 6 categories of useful, reversed, legerdemain, and lurgamin, I don't know, whatever this says, personal affecting, personal, and haunting sounds, plus a 7th available only to illusionists, minor illusion cantrip. Any magic user illusionist has the potential to know cantrips in all of the categories. So, what we have here is the ability to have a magic user start at negative level 3, essentially, because you're 0, 0, 0, but essentially you're negative 3, which is interesting, and you can kind of build a backstory for a character while doing this, how he's an apprentice, though you have to gain 2,000 experience points, 2,001 experience points to even get to first level to start your adventuring career, supposedly. Now, I could see the DM doing this with all the classes and having them do some minor things around the village to gain experience, like they're younger, maybe starting at, because they say the adventuring age is about 17 equivalent of human years, 18, I don't know, 17, 18. So you could start at 15 or you could start at 14, and maybe you're an aspiring magic user when you're going to school during the day, whatever, with your mentor, but during the night, in your free time, you travel with your friends who are also learning their craft, fighter, ranger, whatever, and maybe there's a small threat around the village that you can handle as a group of adventurers and take them out, and the adults don't know because they're not paying attention or something. But I could see having some small in village or in small city adventures for these 0, -3 character level characters, and have some fun with it and kind of build up a whole backstory, friendship, and contacts throughout the city and outside the city. As your character grows, you grow and find all this stuff out. You start -3, pretty much 0 level neophyte, and I would say as you go up in level, you also age. We could say the time passes, even though it's not that many days, depending on how your experience is given out. But you could say, yeah, and once he becomes first level, He's 17 and he's ready to go adventure out on his own. And his master gives him that first level free tome book with all the spells that they're supposed to get. And then the player of the character can decide if he wants to continue with cantrips or not. Do a lot of people play cantrips in campaigns? Not really. Though when I did play, when this book first came out, we did use cantrips quite a bit, but we did not follow these rules. I don't know why. Probably because we were just kids and wanted to play. But I see cantrips as being somewhat useful. Some of them are just kind of meh, but there are ones that can really screw things up, like chill or dry can make you whatever. There's like I think sneeze and yawn, especially if you have an opposing magic user or a shaman or something that's casting spells. You can cast yawn on him and make him go ooh, right in the middle of he's casting a spell, so he can't cast if he's yawning, right? So there are, and the distract is a cantrip as well, and there's all these various cantrips that you can have and cast that will be very useful in a campaign. Do some people want to do all this in their campaigns and waste their time, so to speak, quote unquote? Probably not. I like to role play, so this would be something fun for me to do as a gamer, to play a negative level 3 magic user or illusionist just for the challenge and say I did it at least once. Tell me what you think in the comments about this. I'd like to know your experiences with this, and did you actually follow these rules listed here in the book? Because I'm interested to know. With that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless, and keep those AD and fires lit. Good night.